That's me.
We're good.
All right.
All right, it is 7 p.m. Monday, July 9th. I'd like to call to order this regular monthly meeting of the Village of Trumansburg Board of Trustees. All board members are present. Are there any changes to the agenda that anyone would like to make?
We need to scratch the boilers because they still have not gotten some votes.
Scratch 9A, old business.
The other thing I noticed in the Dropbox that do you want to talk about that?
We are not ready for prime time.
Anyone else?
Any other additions, deletions? Item number 3 is approval of minutes.
They were in the wrong Dropbox, guys, sorry. But they're in there.
There you go.
Yeah. The one I left my desk.
I didn't see. But it's very fun.
You were there at one point. I don't see that.
6:11. That's what it is, 6:11. I would have done the last meeting.
It's outside of it's one level up in the Dropbox.
It's not in the 7-11.
No, it's not a 7-9 folder, it's one up. Shall I drag it in?
Would you mind?
Not at all.
Thank you.
All right, here a second.
There it is. Board meeting minutes, June 11th. Comments on minutes? Changes needed? Not, then I would accept the motion to accept these minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions. Right. Item number 4 is reports from department heads, of which I see 2. One of you lucky guys wants to go first.
Never mind.
Go for it.
Let's see. Okay. We got the brush pile all ground up. I think maybe we touched on that at the last meeting. There is still kind of a mess out there that we have to get cleaned up, but otherwise that went really well. We have locked the dump more regularly to try and keep some of the bigger trees and whatnot out of there, which over the last month does seem to help. We haven't had near as much, and the people who have needed it opened, as long as they come to us or call or whatever, seem to be staying on top of it and seems to be keeping everybody happy. We fixed the welcome to T-Bird sign as you come in by the water tower. The other one still needs some work, but that's on the list. We've started roadside mowing, and let's see, we had a water main break on Cemetery Road on the 21st and 22nd, all the way down to the bottom, which was affecting pretty much everyone from Mike Adams on down, which wound up being a 2-inch line that nobody kind of knew what was down there, so that was kind of a long process. And we've started paving the water break holes on Cemetery Road. And let's see, what was the last bit? Oh, we got the water hooked up for grassroots today and should be meeting with the health department sometime this week to make sure that that's all ready to go. Oh, and storm sewer was repaired on Academy down at the bottom of the hill. While we were there, the retaining wall that is by that walking bridge behind the post office, there's one corner that is in very bad shape that we should look into. That's something more than we can handle with the size of the rocks and materials that's used for that. So that's something that would need to be A, budgeted for, and B, bid out most likely. It's more than we can handle. That's it.
Any questions for Dustin?
Any thoughts on the cause of the water break on Trumansburg?
At the time, let's see, not particularly, but there was a power surge that evening, as well as on top of the fire department was testing hoses. And I don't know whether it was just a combination of everything. The way the break was, it wasn't your typical pipe just snapped.
Right.
There was a hole there, which clearly had been there. And a lot of times when that happens, it calcifies over or whatever, and something just breaks it loose. And whatever was kind of holding it there, obviously broke free. It wasn't like it was just something snapped it. It clearly had been waiting for a while, because there was a 3-inch hole in the bottom of the pipe. You could tell it had been wearing away for quite a while.
So knowing that we have that 2-inch pipe, do we know any of, how many service crews are on that 2-inch pipe?
Yetru's anymore, the house across from Moore's driveway, and I believe the other gentleman that lives back in by Andy, so I think it's 4 houses. So it's not like there's a lack of pressure, but, and actually, excuse me, the gentleman that lives right across from Yetru's, I believe he's on it too, so I think that would be 5. It's not like there's a lack of water there, but it is something in the future that it wouldn't be a bad idea to run 6-inch main all the way down there and get that out of there. 2-inch main, the biggest problem we had was trying to find a new chunk of 2-inch main to put in. They don't make it for water anymore. It's meant for water pressure. The only 2-inch cast iron main they make anymore is for sewer. Only reason for sewer.
So that being said, what is the length of pipe that would need to be replaced? Where does the 2-inch start?
The 2-inch, from what Bruce remembered, the 2-inch service or line there starts somewhere up by that fire hydrant just above Mike Adams and runs somewhere just down to Yetru's and it ends there. So all of the lines below Yetru for sure are just like Andy Moore's as a service line run off that 2-inch line all the way to his house.
So we could take the service line and just put it into a 6.
Yeah, which would be a lot
So
better.
we should look at, just for future, we need to be looking at budgeting to do that.
Yeah, let's see, if lengths of pipe come in 20-foot sections, probably looking at roughly 500 feet, probably. That's just a guess, I don't really know. But I'm guessing all the way down there's probably roughly 500 feet. So,
Okay. Maybe we can talk about it later.
yep.
Any other questions for Dustin? All right, thanks, Dustin. Chief?
All right. The month of June, the police answered 127 calls for service, plus 11 assists to the town. The towns were those acts down at 89, those personal injury accidents and stuff. And a couple of people went on suicide. The month we welcomed our new employee, Jason Marzan, who's been doing a very good job for the village. He's always on time, he's learning quickly. He is very available and probably would not be leaving anytime soon, since he is 41, not able to be a competitive civil service. Speaking of this, I have stated to the mayor and others that this would be a good time for a full-time officer, and it would complement someone like our new officer's availability. He wouldn't be available for the position, obviously. We are the only police department in the county that does not have at least one full-time officer. I've utilized the computer radar a lot on South Street with all the construction hazards that go with it and try to keep the speeding down. I've had officers run radar also at different times. South Street being pretty straight could be quite the speedway once this construction is over. Hopefully it won't be. We did run some radar a lot also, and I moved the sign down toward my house, so we're at the end of the village, hopefully, and I've seen it working because you can see the people coming and slowing right down. So hopefully, I can see where those stationary little solar signs are handy and would work if you wanted to get some for like that place and maybe one or two other places, and then just move the radar around. But that would be up to somebody else to think about. Lastly, we've been spending some time figuring our schedule for grassroots. It's more limited now, and I hope everything goes well. I had actually 6 officers that could not work for us, and my premonition was right, like I mentioned to you. Injuries, people going on training for another full-time job, another who needed it off because he became a full-time officer in Dryden today, probably. You know, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, finally, I want to say goodbye. Oh, I have an MOU for grassroots, agreeing to the regular $3,000 for patrol coverage for this year to help us with the second car. Finally, I want to say goodbye to all. It's been good working with the board, other village employees, and the community. We do have a rate case that is pending, and it's only pending because there was a second incident very similar to this, but the second person we're trying to get to come forward, and she's very hesitant because this guy's got weapons and all this good crap. So anyway, the first one is a good case, except, you know, she was a little under the weather. So anyway, so we need the second girl to really help get going, and we're still working on it, and hopefully that comes through the petition. Okay? That's about it, all I got, I guess. We spending money a little bit, not much, you know.
Any questions for Chief?
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome. 42 years, right? Here.
Well, certainly on behalf of the board, I think I can say on behalf of a grateful village, but also for me personally, I want to thank you for all of your years, and I really enjoyed working with you over the last 12.
Yeah.
To think that that's not even, I guess it is a quarter, but.
And I say the same thing about this board, and most of them, because we've been. Well, you're new, I meant to say, this board, I've had some boards that I'm glad aren't here today, and working with you guys has been a blessing in disguise, really has. And the 2 ladies in there.
You make us great.
Gotta have a little humor.
You do make it.
If you don't have humor, you don't have laugh.
That's right.
Okay?
Don't go anywhere.
Okay, you're not free to leave.
Closing in May went out, so our AUD will be done on time. The state auditors are still here and probably will be, I'd say, at least 2 weeks from what they tell me. I think we're gonna do okay. We've talked about some of their findings, and they'll have an excellent interview with Gordon and I, telling us exactly what they found and, you know, what we're gonna need to correct. But it really, really was not stressful, thank God. It was okay. I was gonna ask Gordon, do you want me to start the doodle for our upcoming meetings with the towns for EMS? And okay, is there any weeks that anybody knows in September that they're out on vacay?
Last week.
September. Last week, I think.
The last week, okay. Okay. Let's see now what else. The other 2 things I have is I have 2 resolutions basically. The first one is we originally budgeted our EMS billing revenue to A1640. After our audit of 1617, Dwayne had suggested that revenue needs to go to A5031. So I would like the board to approve a budget modification to change the $60,000 from 1718 that went into A 1640 to now going to A 5031.
What are the names of them?
A 1640 is EMS billing reserve, and A 5031 is interfund transfer.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second that. So he just doesn't want to be in reserve.
No, it's not a reserve, it's revenue. Did I say reserve? I apologize. I'm sorry, it's revenue. It's EMS billing revenue. I apologize, sorry. It's really just an accounting thing that we
Should
had
we just be
suggested.
closing that account?
We can. So, but it's a budget line, it's just a transfer from one budget line to another. But I figured for it to look good for our 17-18 audit in October, I would take care of it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not, and all in favor of doing the budget modification to move EMS revenue to an intra-fund transfer line, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
The other resolution is for all of our budget modifications for the 17-18 budget year. And what this means is that any of mine that's been overdrawn, I'll call it, we have to offset with a line that didn't use all of their budget. So we go through and do these budget modifications, just in and out and in and out. Yeah, I know. Just to offset budget lines that are as many as I could that had a negative balance to zero it out and make it positive. I put these in the Dropbox a couple weeks. I think I emailed you all that they were there to be reviewed. And they're just for general water and sewer. They don't involve our capital funds. They don't involve our EMS fund. They don't involve trust and agency sidewalk project.
What you said they don't involve you?
They don't involve the EMS billing revenue, billing checking account.
Someone like to make a motion to approve the budget modifications to zero out the various overages in the 17-18 budget?
Yeah.
Second, somewhere.
Second.
I have. So you made these modifications to the budget. So shouldn't we evaluate our budget that we just passed against the adjustments that were made here to make
Not necessarily, because we don't necessarily know the lines that went over last year will go over this year.
right? But there should be some of that so that we're not walking in.
Was I will update the 18-19 spreadsheet, no,
Update the 17-18 action.
18.
right, then I usually carry it over and tell you what the balances are, and then you'll know what 18-19, either way. But I'll
So
do
then
that.
so we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, that's fine.
From the starting point.
That's not a problem. Sure.
So we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Not all in favor of approving the budget modifications, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Anything else?
You know what, that's all I have.
Tammy, you're up.
So of course, June was all about taxes. Last time I looked, on Friday afternoon, we had brought in approximately $620,000. That was before a lot of the escrow checks were in. So in August, I will have a report for you on where we are with reflection. The only other thing I have is I do have two temporary event permits that I'm going to be scanning into the board just to take a look at. One is going to be for a private block party on Prospect Street. And the second one just literally fell out of my head. That's the way to design up yesterday.
What's that?
The second permit, no, we've done the crit one.
The bikes, no?
Anyway, there's a second one coming at you for, I believe it's September. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I do know what it is. Todd is going to be doing an outside event at Atlas during the crit race. Beer tent, food, type of thing, so he will be required to have his insurance stuff. And it's on private property, so we don't really have a whole lot, just making sure that EMS and fire and the police department are really involved. So those are the two things, besides taxes, and lots of sales of properties in the village, so lots of paperwork, but other than that, everything is going groovy.
Any questions for Tammy? Under my report, I just have two items to mention. One is that the first Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Revision Committee meeting will be this Thursday evening in this room at 7 o'clock. Public is welcome to attend, but as it is a committee meeting and not a board meeting, it's technically not subject to open meetings rules, so we won't be recording, we won't be broadcasting, and we most likely won't be having any public comment. It's kind of a kickoff meeting. I am going to preside and make sure everyone knows everyone else on the committee, because it's a fairly large committee, and then hand off the duties going forward to Jessica Giles, who will be chairing. If there are any questions about the committee, certainly they can be submitted to me. And then if committee members have questions, that'll be one of the primary reasons for us getting together on Thursday, is just to make sure everyone understands what the purpose is. The second item is that we have interviewed, this board has interviewed someone for the position of zoning officer. We received about 8 or 9 applications. A couple came in late after we'd begun looking at who to interview. One in particular really jumped out at us. Ben Darfler and I interviewed her along with Tammy initially, and then we brought her in for a second interview in front of the full board. And although the position of zoning officer is not particularly expansive in how its job description is written, at least in Tompkins County, I was struck by the tremendous qualifications of this particular individual. She has extensive experience in both the public and private sector around the country. And she's relocated to this area after having gone to Cornell once upon a time. She just decided this is where she wants to retire. But in the meantime, before she fully retires, she wants to do some municipal work. I think we as a village, everyone else has met her here on the board. I think we're lucky to have her. And I look forward to getting into the role. So if I can have a motion to hire Laura Schneider of Ithaca as the zoning officer for the village of Trumansburg at the wage of $25.75 an hour, effective today.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any board discussion?
I just would like to concur with everything that you said. I cannot believe that we were this fortunate. This woman is amazing.
And it all turned in the morning.
Yeah, fantastic background. Really impressive resume. You do enough interviewing, a lot of times you know kind of a no doubter when you see one. She's definitely that.
Is she doing 15 hours a week, or is she doing the zoning and planning at 30 hours a week?
Just the zoning.
Just zoning? At 20 hours? Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right, if there's no additional discussion, then all in favor of hiring Laura Schneider as the zoning officer for the village of Trumansburg, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Yay.
Great. Let your motion come to a conclusion.
Kathy, it's part-time or full-time?
Part-time. Item number 5 on the agenda is good timing. Privilege of the floor. Our first public comment period. Hi, boys.
See you soon.
If there is any public comment or anyone from the public who would like to comment, now would be your chance. It's like an auction clock. We'll give it a second. There will be a second privilege of the floor at the end. 15 minutes of uninterrupted time. Up for grabs.
Oh, I
Just a
can.
meditation there.
All right, then if there's no public comment, we will move on to reports from representatives. I don't know if Ann or Nancy want to go first. I'll let you flip a coin.
Okay. First off, Chief, on behalf of the town of Ulysses, I would also like to say thank you for your many years of service, and especially in this period when we've really had our own MOU for having the village provide backup policing in the town. We're grateful, and we wish you all the best for the next
Thank you.
42 years of whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, somewhere around there. 51 and a half altogether.
So I just wanted, in terms of a report, the town is still working with residents on Falls Road. We've actually now got an actual petition being circulated by residents to see whether we have critical mass for people to form a water district. And that's based on the map plan and report done by our engineers, which projects the operating costs and the water rates and all of that. So we had a couple of false starts getting that out to people, but I think we've got the corrected version circulating now. I do not believe it's been returned yet, so, but we will keep you posted on that. We actually have had over the last year pretty good news in terms of water quality in the area that concerns us, which was Water District 3, the Jacksonville, when we partnered with the town of Ithaca for them to put an aerator in their tank closest to the town. That actually has made a dramatic difference in lowering the level of TTHMs, something trihalo methanes, that are regulated by the New York State Health Department. And we have consistently now for, I think it was 4 quarters, had the measurements fall below the health department standards. So we are technically now in full compliance with what the county health department has been asking for. And obviously this hotter spell will be the biggest test on the system, because when it's hot, that's when the levels tend to rise. But even if the pattern shifted, that's the point at which it appears that if we were to install an aerator mixer in our own tank, we're at this point now, based on this data, fairly confident that would take care of it. But at this point, we are not moving ahead with that. We're going to have a few more quarters and then really see where we are and move ahead. Pleased that that has had as much of an effect at lowering the levels along the way. We are very close to dotting the last I and crossing the last T on our grant with New York State that enabled us to purchase the Salo habitat. Some volunteers have put up a sign and done some work inside, and we're at a point now where we will be working with a mix of people from the village and residents and others to put together some practical guidelines to govern how that passive use area will be used. We're not interested in over-regulating it by any means, but we do need some basic guidelines. And we need to put those together and then share like an official sort of kickoff for that. So you will hear more about that. I've had a preliminary conversation with Gordon, and we'll you will be your president, so you know what's happening there. I congratulate you on finding your zoning officer as quickly as you did. We had a slightly more protracted process because we seem to have protracted processes, but we are as enthusiastic as you are about the new planner that will be starting in the town on July 16th. John Zepko, Z-E-P-K-O, is a very experienced municipal planner, having worked for a large town outside of in Saratoga County for many years, and most recently working for Cayuga County. And I'm thinking he's going to be not only a great resource for the town, but since part of his duties in Cayuga County are to run sort of training sessions for planning boards and BZAs, that's a function that their county does for their local municipalities, that may be something we're able to tap and do some joint work on. So I think we're really excited about him bringing his experience to the town. At our meeting tomorrow night, we will also be reviewing the same T-Bird Community Rec MOU with the town, the village, the school. And so we're interested in what conversation is here. I did want to say thank you to the village. Brian Snyder just helped pull some data together for us to be able to continue to track the car cube addiction recovery service use of EMS services as a part of the overall town usage. Last year, that was really astronomical. The data that Brian provided was valuable in helping us have a conversation with cars, who now seems to be triaging their medical requests for EMS to be, for the most part, much more appropriate. But so we've seen a dramatic decrease in the number of cars called to which EMS has had to respond. So it means they're more available to do other services. The cost to the town is less. We want to make sure it's sort of at an appropriate level without in any way jeopardizing anyone's health and safety. So we'll be having a follow-up meeting with cars, which I hopefully can incorporate people from the village, so that, because there are still a number of service issues that are that warrant clarification, so that we can continue to sort of be as much on the same page as possible about when is it appropriate for them to call, when and how is it appropriate for EMS to respond, and how both parties understand each other best. So that's our, that will be coming up. That is conversation made easier and clearer with the data, which we now have. So now that with the new location of Grassroots, we've also, the town are dealing with sort of where and how we can grow courses and stuff like that to make sure everybody has access and everybody pretty safe. So we'll be doing that, and the contract that we have for mowing the grass along that new 96 sidewalk, our mowing contractor is going to make sure it gets mowed right before grass roots, so there's, it's all tidy, and now we've got our crosswalks and all of that, so hopefully that'll be for safer transit for festival goers. I think the other things that we're doing are just all in process, so that's for us to listen to other questions. Oh, I did bring, and I'll give them to you, Gordon, copies of a diagram that I did to describe our joint youth commission and that we have, the town and the village, that sort of shows how do they come together, how do we pool our funds, how do those funds get allocated. We put that together a few years ago, and I just recently got it. So that's available since we have some new members of the board that might be useful. So that's that for me.
Any questions for Nancy? Thank you.
And
Right. I also wanted to extend from the county our congratulations on Chief Frey's long-deserved retirement. And I came here to Trumansburg area in '84, so it was towards the latter part of your service.
Not bad. That's how you want to do the math.
So thank you very much.
And when it's appropriate, I have a little anecdote that I'll share with you about.
Okay.
Sorry.
So the city of Ithaca, I wanted to mention they passed a green building policy connected to their zoning. So if folks are interested in that, you can contact the city or get information on that. So as far as any zoning updates, that seems to be a trend a little bit starting in the county. The county accepted the airport grant from the state. There's still a lot to be done. We don't have a timeline for the airport addition or the geothermal yet, but I'll keep you updated. It's going a little bit slower, I think, than the governor hinted that it would be completed maybe by the fall. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see what else here. The good news for the sales tax, the county sales tax revenues are up. So for the first half of 2018, the distribution to the municipalities is up 6.5%.
three.
One of the trends we've been noticing, I'm on the facilities and highway committee, and one thing that we've been noticing, it's costing us a lot more for most of our projects, because a lot of our projects for the roads or bridges or facilities improvements, they're on a pretty big scale, and we're having to compete with all the construction down in a lot of the same contractors. A lot of times, the same contractors aren't even bidding on some of the projects. But unfortunately, so we're having to go even further, and also all the bids are coming in higher. So that's costing the county a little bit more. The last project, for instance, was huge, that on the bridges, $500,000 more than we anticipated. So that's not great.
Has that been determined how much petroleum prices impacted that? Because that's a huge,
I don't know.
it's a huge determination. Determining factor in the cost of those products.
That makes sense. And NYSEG was going to put in some pressure boosters on the other side of the county because they didn't put in the gas pipelines were dry. I don't know if you're aware of that. So then they were going to put in just boosters around the Lansing area. And it looks like they're not going to have to do that. It looks like the pressure is going to be adequate because there's some other things being done, for instance, off-peak, or I'm sorry, I can't think of it, there's a term, like there's incentives out there for people during peak time to reduce their usage. They're getting smart meters, and people are getting incentives to not use, for instance, their air conditioner between 4 and 6. And one of the reasons I like to always keep saying that is for folks, if you think of it, put your air conditioning on a timer, or if you have a thermostat, 4 to 6 is a great time, so we're not having to get other power plants on during that time. If you can keep it reduced between 4 and 6, that's the biggest use time. And I know it's hard this time of year when it's pretty warm. We passed a resolution, the county did, to join the Economic Development District of the Southern Tier, so we're going to be able to apply for more grants. But that also means all municipalities within the county are going to be able to apply for them. So I'm going to be looking at some way to get that information to you guys, maybe to have either a group meeting where you get some of the people there or somebody to come from the county to explain really what that is so that you can actually access that. We paid $10,000 to join it. It would be good if we can actually get some more grants and stuff in that kind of program. The county sold 12 properties that were in arrears of taxes, and none of them were in the town of Ulysses or the village of Trumansburg. Thank you guys very much. That's my report.
Any questions for me? Thank you. Trustees, fire, rent.
Nothing to report this month. We're gonna sit down a little later in the month and start trying to talk about what we can do with the fire hall and opportunities and ideas there. That's pretty much what's on my mind right now.
Okay. EMS and youth. Ben?
The youth commission didn't meet this month. The big thing is the MOU, which is further down. That's stuff that's executive. Of course, there's one other. Oh, so we received a couple of complaints about the summer rec program. Programs have closed in the rain, and parents haven't been notified. I was initially fairly upset because that doesn't make sense. But I did talk to Tom about it. He explained that day school and swim buses have always closed apparently when it rains. I think part of the difficulty here was just the word hadn't gone out to parents. So I think he's aware of the difficulty. I wanted to bring it up mostly because I received complaints, so if anyone else does, know that we're aware about it. But also, I just thought I'd bring it up. I mean, it is a daycare option that parents rely on. It is very important. It would certainly be possible for us to keep those programs open and just in a gym or something like that. I mean, it becomes a bit of a logistic problem, but I just wanted to throw it out there, see what people think. I mean, it's something, I think Tom will be particularly receptive to changing that program or that idea. But he may be. He didn't seem to be when I spoke to him, but with the whole board. So I just wanted to sort of feel stuff.
From a parent perspective, for someone who went to that program, the notification of the lack thereof is certainly a problem.
Well, so the notification is definitely the primary issue, and that's something we can solve.
But when your babysitter doesn't close because it rains, so to close camp because they might have to use the cafeteria or the gym or the library doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And people are going without pay, so they lost a whole day's pay because the kids that were It's just not good policy, at least from a parent's perspective. I dropped my kid off at camp at the lake that day, and she was at the lake the entire day.
So Tom's defense of those exact criticisms, which I raised, is essentially that daycare and swim bus are both fairly short programs that are outdoors. They're advertised that way. Parents do know that. It's not particularly surprising. So I agree. I mean, for me, it would be the same problem.
Having been a parent that used those programs, although it's been several years,
Yeah.
I also had to pay a babysitter for the time they were in the camp. I paid the babysitter, the camp, and the swim bus because of the way it was set. And the transportation and the pickup, if it was raining, was the babysitter's responsibility. You don't lose, they are not meant to be a daycare. And if you choose to make them a daycare, you better be looking at some.
Well, you can enroll, obviously, children in daycare, which does not cancel. Right, and that does go all day, and that very much is daycare.
Well, I use it. I guess I'm not really affected because I do the whole day thing. So, but obviously it's never convenient to close a child care provider of any. So, and especially because you have to pay up front, you don't get that money back. So.
The kids are already in the school. We already have the building. We have access to those. So that was kind of my point. One of my reasons for calling that was that we already have access to all the rooms in the building that we need. The fact that it's drizzling out, school doesn't get wet inside. So it was just, a lot of parents were really upset, and I could empathize and sympathize.
I get the
It
notification.
doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
I just worry some parents are gonna ask for refunds for those
Yeah.
days. And then what do we say?
Well, has that ever happened in 50 years?
I mean, it hasn't happened in my
I
6 years.
Even if you leave.
But we haven't gotten so many
Still
complaints
Well,
as we did this.
and
I think this time it was a notification.
Well, and I
I mean-
don't think we've canceled play school. Vicki, when's the last, have you ever had?
No, I don't think.
Not
the
ever.
Swim buses. Like this.
Swim bus, yes.
Play school is everybody.
Never been canceled because
So-
of rain.
Right.
Thoughts? Drop you.
One of the things Nancy and I spoke about last week was kind of more of a broader, where's the youth commission in all of this in terms of long range plan? So I think, so we address an issue because it rained last week, and it doesn't rain for the rest of the summer. And that to me, it's problematic that was done. But there are broader issues to consider. And I think probably dealing with the broader issues will take care of a lot of this other stuff.
Start with the vision and mission.
I think the reason I bring it up is I'm concerned about a sort of firehouse situation, distracted by the big issues and reasons why.
Well, it sounds like the notification issue is the biggest issue and possibly the easiest to fix. So maybe we just focus the energy there and well, good enough.
Thank you. All right, let's keep moving on.
Unless the notifications are that it's closed, then it becomes the issue.
Well, in advance.
Well, and that would be
Know what's
additional,
coming.
right, that would be additional feedback to come back. They had been notified. People have been notified up front, we still don't know. This happens again in August, we still have phone calls.
Well, and I guess that's what I'm looking for is how do we react when it does happen?
Notification issue or the closing issue?
Probably both, I guess, from my guess, but
I mean, hopefully the notification issue is before the time. But
because in 13 years,
appropriate
place was never canceled because of rain. So I don't know how to handle it afterwards. So I guess that's what I need is information.
I said we start with the notification, and then we'll collect more data if this happens again, and people are properly notified, and it's still, the issue is not that the notification wasn't there, the underlying issue is really that it was closed altogether. We have a conversation about it.
The complaints that we got in the office were all about that these people planned on bringing their kids. And it was more of a financial issue, that now it has been canceled, now they have to go find babysitter, or calling for it. So I think it was both. And if you could ask Tom to at least call us, so we can get it, because I only knew because Mary Kate.
That's definitely, I mean,
That obviously should.
Yeah,
That's,
because that's how Mary Kate texted me and said that she got canceled, so.
sounds like she's gonna be that sort of a high decibel blast of the year, which is how she got it. So,
Well,
your method.
no, I'm empathizing on some levels. It's not that anyone treated me that way. I just know that in my position, if somebody, I'm 45 minutes from camp, so, and they close camp at 9 AM because it rains outside? And what is the notification system? Do we have one in place? Who does the calling? How does the calling happen? Because it's not here.
No call. There's definitely no calling to individual parents.
Right, and there should be, if we're going to,
volunteering.
so sure, but somebody has to do it.
Because the point, this all speaks to my point, that this is a broader administrative issue
I asked-
of what youth programs are we going to facilitate? Period. We're going to facilitate one thing or not facilitate another thing, that has to be decided kind of at a higher level. The village can choose to participate in it or not. But piecemeal management of what someone did or didn't do or should or shouldn't have done is not a good way to manage it.
No, I was gonna say that I distinctly remember having to fill it out when we registered children, that there had to be a contact person. Of course, somebody has a contact, because if anything happened to that child, you'd have to call somebody.
Oh, yeah.
So who is that contact person, and that's who you would contact for saying we're closing.
Well, I think,
So nobody can leave until their child is picked up. There still has to be responsibility until the person who was contacted picks them up, even if it's 45 minutes later.
Children shouldn't be there. This is like a preemptive notification like the school states. But anyways, we can move on. And that is fine.
all right. Deb, DPW water sewer.
I'm done. I don't have anything to say. I am certainly, I have a couple things coming up, but as of today, I don't have anything.
All right, Keith, police, TCOG, and TACC.
Okay, maybe we'll just start with,
Sure.
I think we've dragged sheep out long enough here.
Yeah,
The more that people talk to it, the more. it
42
needs to be.
minutes.
What's another 42 years?
42 minutes.
Well, Chief, we know you did not want a party, so we're not gonna give you a party.
Not tonight, anyway.
That's right. But we did want to honor your more than 5 decades of law enforcement. And we decided to do that by creating an award in your honor. So, in honor of your 42 years of dedicated service, the Village of Trumansburg hereby establishes the Thomas L. Reddy Award for Service and Community Achievement, effective this day, July 9th, 2018. So I'd like to present this to you and say, from moving forward, every year, a person or organization in Greater Trumansburg area will be handed an award with your name on it, in recognition of their commitment to the community, just like you exhibited for all these years. And I think, personally, I think what we, current events, recent events down in the Bath area, this is a dangerous line of work. I know a lot of people think we live in this sleepy little village, but I know you see a different side of it, and your monthly reports that some of us see, I think, tell us that. And not everybody knows that. So thank you for that service and that sacrifice that you make. So this is for you.
Stand up.
So I'm going to present this to them tomorrow, but the first recipient of the Thomas L. Reddy Award will be Trumansburg robotics teams for their past year of success and community inspiration.
Oh, man.
Turn it around so I can see
Wait,
it, dear.
Just pick that paper.
You want both of yours?
Get up there with him.
There we go.
Protect. There you go.
Oh, now you're.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Then we'll have the party.
We're gonna party now.
A roast. There you
Oh,
go.
my gosh.
Now I
Bye, see you tomorrow.
Probably.
No.
We got a meeting now.
All right, see you when you get home.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, see you guys.
Bye,
Tom, thank you.
Oh, I see you.
You've been doing that for how many years? I don't see you there.
30-something.
Well, he did not stick around long after that.
Oh, you better go get it.
No, it's the emotional part is what we're.
That's, he was being hot. Okay, so I see a note here for special detail rate, the $35 an hour, is that for grassroots?
Yes, so Chief and I had discussed raising what I think is now $32.50 special detail rate up to $35. We discussed it in December, January. And then I got sidetracked this spring. So we would like to, and I'll go ahead and I'll make a motion that we raise the special detail duty rate for police officers to $35 an hour.
Second.
Any discussion or questions on it?
Is special duty just related to grassroots, or is it the?
Grassroots,
mountain charge us for?
Burn Dairy, Winterfest, not court, sometimes school, kind of depends on the shift. It's not directly tied to the contract. Basically, we need a carrot to get someone to sign up. Any other questions? If not, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Right. Back to you.
Okay, so I'll start with TCOG, and I'll publish a more comprehensive summary, but I think the main highlights are, one, we get a little bit of a refresher about SWIFT 911, and our esteemed clerk received a beautiful shout out because she's apparently one of the few municipal employees that has sat with the director and really gone through the SWIFT 911 system. So thank you, Tammy, for doing that on behalf of the village. So basically, they're still trying to, they want us all to promote this in our communities, get more people to sign up for the SWIFT 911 alerts. We have a pretty good adoption rate, it looks like. About 1,100 emails or phone numbers in Trumansburg are signed up. We have 2 lists, village employees and village announcements. Guessing, maybe you set that up.
Yeah, there's 3 groups.
There's 3 groups. What's the third?
The emergency.
Emergency, okay. So I'll post something later about how to sign up for all that. I mentioned before this 2 things about TCAT that I thought are important. One is this idea that they might be they're in the process of switching, or of already in some areas switching to being able to board the TCAT only where there are signs. A lot of times in rural areas, you can hail the TCAT in different areas. Apparently, their plan is to discontinue that, which could be a potential impact on us, and I've been encouraged by different people to perhaps voice our concerns if we have that may be happening. But as right now, the plan is to switch to sign pickup, drop off.
Are they getting more signs?
I think there's a lot of the new signs have gone up. So I think the signs are mostly up. So, so just something for us to maybe consider. I asked about in the kind of representative said he would go back to try to get more clarity on that. I have emailed this, but it hasn't really been full. We may have time if we have them. The other is, I think there was actually an article, we have talked about this at least once at our meetings, given this update, but then there was an article in the Times about it, the idea of fare-free service on TCAT. You know, still could be a bit of a long shot, but it sounds like there is a potential path to make that happen. Part of it is the more riders you have, potentially the more money you're going to get from the state. So if you go to a fare-free system, odds would be that you have riders, which means a lot more state money would come in. They're estimating you could also do perhaps about a $30 per household increase in your taxes might cover it. Some debate on that. Some costs would go down. You wouldn't need the card swiper, the cash registers, and the buses anymore. So some things would go away. So that'll continue to be talked about. This coming month's meeting, we will be member of the county planning department will be coming, and that we'll have a real thorough discussion on what I mentioned before about for shared planning services, which I think we would probably most definitely benefit from. And then there was some information I'll put online later. Amy Hendricks from Youth Services presented a lot about what they offer the community, and sometimes I think that some of these downtown offices, we kind of forget about them, but you know, they are, could be an asset to our community as well. And we kind of pay for them, so we should find ways to use them. So there's some ideas there.
We're actually getting great service from that county department. One of their staff comes to our youth commission meetings every month and does research on our behalf, and we're looking at programming and administrative options. So,
yeah, they had a lot of great charts and information to share about what's available, and they even have some good. I asked a question about mental health services for youth, especially like some local events. They had some good direction for resources there. Chamber, there was a talk of doing our first ribbon cutting for homespun. That may happen. There's been some talk about bringing ribbon cutting ceremonies to Main Street. So that was one thing that was talked about. Not much else. Yeah, we just had Porch Fest. Seemed like it was pretty well attended. And the line bike debut road. I don't know if you received official numbers in line bike ridership for Porch Fest, but
No, he was gonna have data for us for the August meeting.
I know at one point that afternoon we had heard maybe 80 or 90 rides at about 3-4 o'clock. So it sounds like they were getting their use.
This is a side benefit of that. When we were in Washington this weekend, we both rented Capital Bikes, the same program. Man, DC is like, why do you see to do it on a bike? They still walk. You know? And everything has gas. It's all the money that's in everything.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
I just had one comment. When you were talking about the free TCAP taxes, the thing that concerns me about that is if Cornell and Ithaca College both now pay a significant piece in that, if they're gonna put it on the taxes, that means that they get away from again, because they are not very tax friendly. Then something is.
Oh, I see. So you think Cornell would pull their money from the
I'm
source of
thinking
taxes?
that yes.
Probably
Thinking
bad.
that we need to keep aware that they should still be taking a portion of that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the discussion was, you know, would you see legitimate increase in ridership? And a lot of people, the idea of having money for the bus, having exact change for the bus, there's a lot of kind of these mental hurdles where it just doesn't feel worth your time to try to get on a bus. So there was a potential approach of doing, you know, like a half-year pilot programs like that as well, just to see how much ridership increases and would it sustain itself long term. But yeah, I mean, anytime you mention adding to the tax burden, especially in this county area, we're going to get some resistance, whether it's $5 or $10. There are some people that are very, very skeptical of all of this, but there are some that are hopeful.
I think it's a great idea. I'm just want everyone to pay their share.
Right.
Not try to push it because it's to their advantage. The larger entities who are already having to pay something.
Oh, I'm sorry, I know there's a safe spot program. I think that's on this list.
Yeah.
So the safe spot program is something we talked about. I think, Gordon, you kind of brought it up back in April. And this is the idea that businesses or buildings in town would be designated safe spots for children, in distress or being bullied or lost or get separated or just having some problems. They see the safe spot image in the window of these businesses and you kind of go there. So really, we kind of have, and what I can find in my research, we have kind of two routes we can go here. There's kind of the small homegrown model, which is what Candor does, the Village of Candor. And that's essentially, they're just creating this list of available stores with the logo in the storefront. And each business is instructed to call proper authorities whenever a situation arises. You have to fill out information and submit it for your child. And so that's kind of just a very basic model. Then there's the potential to join National Safe Space or nationalsafeplace.org is a website and an organization, and this is much more involved. This covers everything from I'm being bullied or I'm having a problem, I need to go someplace to I can text that I need help to a text number and it connects me with somebody. It offers mental health guidance, suicide prevention, that kind of stuff. So it's a very more complex, sophisticated network. One of our designated locations would have to essentially apply and become a member of this agency, and that ranged anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a year. I would suggest that a place like the library might make the most sense to be the designated place if we went that route, but that would be a conversation with them. This organization will send somebody to present to the community if you would like them to. The closest chapter that I could find was in Rochester. So nobody close to Rochester really does this. Nobody really east of us does this. But there's some places in Rochester and Buffalo. So there's a lot more service that comes with this model. And I kind of like the idea that your distress may be more than just physical at a specific time where you're looking for shelter, you may need something else who goes anywhere. You might not be near a safe place, location where you can just walk in the door. So I'll buy all of them. So I'll present, I kind of wrote these two options up, and we can look at them and maybe if we want something for us. Or we just say, we'll just go with our small local storefronts and just do it ourselves.
Any sense, did you have a chance to discuss the idea, the concept of the chamber?
I did, yeah. There were definitely stores that were receptive to be in place. I mentioned it briefly, I think either last month or the month before, that we were going to be looking into it. And then definitely see what these willing participants.
It's really good thing I went around by you.
Sure.
Thoughts, and I don't know if it might be that, well, if there's no, Ronnie has to do that, probably, but maybe Janice has heard about it, if she's heard about it. Do you know anything about it?
Maybe we could do the first east.
I mean, there used to be something in Ithaca, because Shortstop used to have retail.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the sort of undergirding of it was, or how it worked, or if it still exists. My guess is
I think that dates back to when we were out fingerprinting and making IDs for our children, and because kidnapping and all these terrible things that happen, and all that information out there and we're going to steal, so there you have it. But I think that's one of the short sale programs.
I mean, option two, the more complex model, I think we definitely have to look at not just kind of the initial joining fee, but what other kind of personnel time that we're talking about. Is volunteer based? Is it, this tax hotline is supposed to be 24/7 access to somebody and then come from, there's options on their website where you can kind of partner with other people in bigger cities perhaps. So there's a lot of different options. I think if we're really interested in learning more about that model, I think that we'll just get somebody like line Mike presenting, everybody else presenting to us.
My personal opinion is let's not make it so complicated. Let's start, I mean, we are a small town, we can start with the small town option, and then
Sure.
there seems to be a need for it, we can look at the larger picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can quickly adopt the Canton model
Yeah.
with ease, and then if we want to think bigger, maybe bring the school district in for a conversation, the commission for a conversation.
And you know, I know you're talking about kids, but there are times that adults are in trouble as well.
Yeah, so there is some of that blended in. Looks like there's some adult in need options as well for the larger program.
I think a safe spot is just a safe spot. I don't think it matters whether you're 8 or 80. A safe spot is a safe spot.
I personally had somebody follow me when I lived in California, when I was walking to the bank from my house, and Steve was out to sea. And so I had to stop, I couldn't walk back to my house, because I would have brought the person, I knew he was following me, he was in the car following me while I was walking. And I had to go into a store and say, look call the police, I need somebody to get whoever this is away. And the guy got out of his car and tried to take me. So it's nice to have some training, and that's why I'm saying it's adults as well.
Yeah.
Item number 8 is acknowledgement of correspondence. It appears we don't have any correspondence directed to our board.
Wasn't John Wurz here?
That's in the Dropbox.
That is in the
Is it?
job.
Yeah.
Right, that works.
Okay, we have one email item, that's right, directed to our board as well as I believe the town of Lewis's board with concerns about line bike. Item number 9 is old business. Does anyone have any other old business that we missed? This agenda. Yeah, it does.
How about the ramp? What's going on with that?
How about that?
I'm still struggling to get people to come in and meet to give quotes. I had 2 guys last week that were supposed to come. Apparently Tom said he never saw them. I didn't know whether there was anything more than that. But what the plan is, because I know you mentioned on the way in that it just heaved to get
Yeah, the whole
the
landing.
whole landing is heaved.
Do we have to sell that out? Is that something you guys can do?
Not really. It's more than what we have kind of on our plate right now for trying to get to it, to have guys to get to it. It's more than a 1 or 2 person job, really. I mean, what we're already trying to do. Without soon, it really needs to be taken care of.
Right, well, and that was gonna be my next thing, because August, water does go out August 1st. I have to have that ramp accessible, and it needs to be safe by August 1st. With, I got too many people who use it during water.
And today it's really up.
Oh, no, tonight
Yeah,
it just popped
we
completely
just
off.
walked,
Yeah,
we just
okay.
walked in and saw it. The humidity really makes it move, and with the fluctuating temperature the way it has
I
been
know,
now,
I get it.
it just,
Yeah, no, I get it. And it's,
the screws are rotting out, the boards underneath are rotting out.
Is there a quick fix for that?
You're gonna screw it.
There's a better, I mean, we can continue to, I send somebody up once a week and continue to screw boards down, but at
Can
some
you
point,
replace whatever boards, just like a couple boards?
not really, not quickly and easily.
Okay.
It's just, well, I mean, at that point, once you started, especially with where that is,
Right.
right up there on the landing, once you started it might just be well worth it to just have it done.
Needed a temporary fixing unit, so I asked the Finger Lakes Independence Center, they have some metal ramps that they maybe with people. for their homes, but I don't know.
I know several contractors, and they're all looking out into May of next year, so that's
Right.
Well, at one point, we had quotes.
Yeah, I've got one for sure. And he seemed interested, and I talked with two people just last week who said, oh yeah, I'll stop in and talk to Tom about what the requirements or what he wants, because part of it is with it being a municipal building, there are some of the codes aren't as restrictive as they would be on just a private home.
So you say you have one quarter, do you know when they can start?
Now I'll check in with him now and see where he's
Why don't you find out?
I can get a hold of him.
See what he says.
In the meantime, I think we have to close it, no more up and down until it's stable.
I can look at it in the morning and see if there's something we can do real, like she said, real quick, if there's something we can screw back together.
Because all it's gonna take is somebody with a walker and we're done.
Okay. Item number 10, new business. So in the Dropbox, there is a falsely advertised final version of an MOU.
For the first file version.
Yes, first of many final versions.
First draft.
Version 5.
I'm hoping that everyone had a chance to look at it. The spirit of the MOU is basically that the village will agree to work with the town, the school, and Trumansburg Community Rec on planning and strategic planning about how to do something about recreation and facilities in the greater Trumansburg area. Beyond that, and who's responsible for what, that's where some of the final fleshing out is taking place. My preference would be to simply agree in principle to the spirit of this MOU. As our attorney continues to consistently remind me, the village is sovereign, which means we can back out of anything we get ourselves into. So in that sense, if we agree to it and we don't like where it goes, we can simply say bye-bye. So I don't know that I'm personally particularly concerned about what we think we might be signing ourselves up for in the future. At this time, there's no request for funds. There is a request for participation, but we've already been participating. So I'm open to.
This is basically what I reported on last month, which is our obligations primarily are that I would continue to go and continue to eat, which I'm more than happy to do as part of this organization anyway. So, I mean, we are involved. It is very minimal obligation on our part, and I think it's a great organization that's potentially, hopefully doing really worthwhile sort of long income things. I think we should throw whatever support we have or are able to be. I'm very, very strong. There are some minor tweaks that would make the MOU, but to be quite honest, I'd rather just sign it and have it done so that we can start moving on to the next phase. That's it. Nancy had one recommendation that I imagine you'll bring up tomorrow with the town board that I thought was good. It was eliminating one sentence. I can't remember exactly, but there's a sentence that's basically contemplate the dual nature of TCR as a contractor and a planner. And I agree that that's a very weird sentence. I don't know what your concern with it was. My concern is just that it's an unnecessarily confusing sentence.
Yeah, I mean, it was offered as like a parenthetical note to the
Right.
people who put the draft together, and it just sort of got pulled into it, and it didn't get pulled back out, but.
Yeah, so I'd like to see that out. Well, I mean, there's a couple other tweaks to it, but I think it's great. It is an agreement.
Plan to plan.
One way we can handle it is the board could authorize me to sign whatever the actual final version is, obviously barring some substantive change or request for money, that then would have to come back here.
It's my opinion that that's exactly what we should. In fact, I move that we authorize Jordan to sign this agreement or one similar, substantively the same agreement. is presented in the final form.
Second. Do we have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? If not,
There's a couple sentences in here that I would change too, but again, spirit of it is right. Go ahead, I mean, it doesn't really.
I mean, I think I will send Barrett a couple recommendations as far as this wording, but nothing that changes the substance of it.
all right, if there's no additional discussion, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Item number 11. Bills.
You're kidding. 20 after 8.
There's actually no difference.
Oh, yeah, we have
You
that.
do say item number 13.
You make sure it was item 13?
I got her done.
It ought to be every month. So in the general fund, we have an abstract totaling $200,006.55.
Move that we pay subtract in the order of $200,000, $200,006.55.
I did actually, oh, who's first plate?
They're a subsidiary of the Trumansburg Telephone,
Oh, okay.
or something
There's
thereof.
significant changes happening at FLTG,
Yeah,
Or OTTC.
whatever their name is this week.
All right, it's like that.
two of our bills come from First Light for some reason, and the rest of them come from Trumansburg Telephone.
All right. Any other questions? Obvious now that I look at it.
Any other questions on the general fund abstract? Now, then we have a motion and a second to pay it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is our EMS billing abstract to pay out what we've received in the amount of $38,232.29.
So we pay that, you must run
Motion, second.
Second.
Any discussion?
it. Action 30.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was fix that.
All right, if there's no additional discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Water fund abstract, in the amount of $35,441.07.
Move that we pay the water bills, the water estimate, $35,421.07. The water fund.
Second. Motion in a second. Question.
You know, paychecks versus ADP, I don't need.
It is,
I have really good news.
are you asking about the bill then? Oh, I'm sorry.
Huh? Good. I'm just looking for ADP. I know that there was some discussion about the difference.
Tammy has no-
So apparently, after jumping through hoops, I finally have as of today, the 24-hour time clock is correct. Everybody who punched in at EMS who worked it overnight, everything fell in line. So lo and behold, after a year of being told it's not possible, it was indeed possible. They are working on the benefit time. I expect to have resolution by, I'm off this Thursday and Friday, I'll be back on Monday. I expect that to everybody's benefit time to be correct and on the paychecks. They found the issue, lo and behold. So it looks like we are in a better spot with them. They gave us a month free, so we should not be getting any invoices.
So you know, for July, you mean
For July.
Okay.
And I I mean, these were the big two issues, and it seems like I finally got to the right place. So I'm hopeful,
Found the one person.
truly, and her name is, right?
Kelly.
Let me tell you what, no, besides that.
That's Tim.
Her name is Victory. True story. Her name is Victory, and she's,
Good name for someone to fix things.
that's what I'm thinking, yeah. Who's gonna be Kelly, but still, she knew where to find Kelly, so we're good. Oh, I really know.
Story,
Sorry. Sorry, Beth.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the water fund. Additional discussion? If not, in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Sewer fund abstract in the amount of $19,521.33.
I move that we pay the sewer abstract of $19,521.33 from sewer fund.
Second.
Any discussion?
Superior septic.
Yes,
What are you doing?
they're all sludge.
Where we,
Well,
Sludge still gets hauled, it just doesn't get hauled all the time.
this is back to the normal rate of,
I don't actually know if
They
it's
still have
normal,
all
but it should be,
the
yes.
press stuff.
Yeah,
we're like back to the normal schedule.
yes. We're not doing it every day.
Dave does approve, I send all the bills to Dave now, and he does approve them, so.
I think now it's just a matter of they haul a dumpster away once a week instead of hauling a whole tanker truck of liquid away every couple of days.
Right.
Any additional questions? If not, all in favor of paying the sewer fund abstract, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We have our capital project, Safe Routes to School, South Street sidewalk. Abstract amount of $87,640.60.
I move that we pay this abstract in the order of $87,648.60 from the capital project Safe Routes to Schools fund.
Second.
Motion in a second, any questions?
How far are we done?
We did a semi-final walkthrough last week with Dusty and the guys from Fisher and Streeter. They identified punch list items, a couple signs that need to be plumbed. There were a couple of water main access caps that needed to be drummed out with the concrete and sealed it shut. A couple of the last pieces of sidewalk, those look like they're in.
Yep, everything I've seen making some serious progress on that list this week.
Turf grading, turf repair, grass seed, all that's on the list.
Tomorrow. They're supposed to bring in the hydro seeder tomorrow and start putting that down. They're gonna have South Street all coated and barreled and taped, hopefully to keep track of the coffee.
It should be done next week or so, which does raise a question, which I'll ask the board after we pay this. If there aren't any additional questions. And all in favor of paying the Safe Routes to School abstract, please say aye. Opposed?
Nancy, just to let you know, I think everything that you tried was now done to it. The striping, everything, I think over there is done. So, probably in August, I'll get with me.
Remind me not to forget what I was about to say. Next abstract is the capital improvement wastewater treatment plant project, sewer plant in the amount of, this looks like our final, this is our final.
It is our final.
Final.
That's Marty Hubbard.
Hubbard for $73,567.84.
Move that we pay $73,567.84 from the wastewater treatment plant project.
Second.
Motion made second. Any questions?
I believe that unless we get something from Municipal Solutions about stuff that they've done, this should be it for sewer.
Correct. Sewer's done, we're still waiting generator and water.
Is this when the streamers go
No, that's
Yes.
September when we close.
And we close the VLCT.
Pretty sure she
A little bit.
Any additional questions on sewer project? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Last but not least, trust and agency in the amount of $25,747.04.
We really get that trust in you. Yeah.
Second.
Let's look at that play.
They were,
Double pay.
they were double paid. Because we didn't know how they did it. We're just starting, and we figured it out. The girl came in, we got it all straightened out. So, yeah. Well, because there's a lot more people participating this time, and but they're doing better than that.
Can I add?
Any other questions on trust and agency? If not, then all in favor, please say aye.
Don't forget to say something.
Abstentions. So sidewalks, couple, 3 or 4 people have asked whether the village is going to make sure that grassroots, camp goers, and otherwise don't park on the sidewalks on South Street. I spoke with Elaine at Grassroots, and she said because of the new camping site and the fact that it's all pre-reserved camping, they're not going to be lining up all throughout the village, she thinks, to get in. My question is, does this board want to instruct ticketing and towing with anything anywhere near our new sidewalks? Or do we want to wait and see kind of how it goes? If it flows smoothly as Grassroots expects, then there won't be a problem.
Parks on sidewalks that are built to dimensions specified on, I think that's problematic. I think that's going to be why, but actually, we'd like to actually be like, put signs there, right? I don't mind parking up to the sidewalk, but we parked on the sidewalk. It's the purpose of having the sidewalk.
But we also, we don't allow parking on the village street, it can be off the street. So,
I mean, I understand.
so you,
Occasions there.
I could see people taking their chances, and I think under normal circumstances, they may or may not get a ticket, depending on kind of where they're sitting off the road. Do we want to instruct Chief his farewell tour his way down South Street as he's headed home, and sure no one's touching some sidewalks, or for that matter, digging up the turf that Streeter's gonna grade and hydro seed next week right before Grassroots starts.
We'll still be sorry.
Ticket and tow. They ticket and tow on Main Street, they ticket and tow up somebody's middle of the thing. I mean, let's, breaking the law, they're breaking the law.
You got one ticket in tow,
I mean,
I think it was two.
I agree, yeah.
2 ticket in tow.
If they just need a village.
Like,
They put the road together.
I mean, then,
And so, I mean, we're talking about essentially letting cars park
On South Street.
on something, you can't park
Because they
there.
don't want to
You're
pay
basically
for
not
their
gonna be able to
parking.
park on South Street.
There is plenty of off-site parking that
Right.
doesn't include village streets.
Because the regs are, if you can't get all 4 tires off the road, you're subject to ticket. On South Street, if you get all 4 tires off South Street, you're probably gonna be on a sidewalk on one side. On the other side, you're gonna be in somebody's yard, and then it's up to them to.
I mean, historically, South Street is sort of a big thoroughfare for parking and walking. But I agree with Elaine, I don't think it needs to be that way anymore. And I certainly don't think we should obstruct our sidewalks.
And I mean, is there a way that we can enhance the no parking signs there so they know they're being towed? That there's no question.
The easiest way to enhance anything is with flashing lights, badge, and a gun, and a book full of tickets. Okay.
You can have
It's having
ticket.
fun.
Maybe we'll volunteer role for
I want the
Grassroots.
ticket.
Okay, then,
I would vote for taking it to.
Unless there's a reason not to, then I'll say something to the chief.
I just wanted, like, I'm not seeing a lot of parking on South Street. I see a lot of lining up for camping. I mean, I guess maybe that's parking overnight, because people usually have in their cars. And yeah, I just want to make sure, do we mean that as well? Versus just people parking and not leaving their car, you know?
The concern is the lining up and the parking near our sidewalk.
If I'm in the vehicle, am I parked?
Well, the ADs are out of the way, that should correct that.
So the car is running technically, you're starting.
So is there any law you're standing?
Temporary police were running.
Yeah.
No stopping.
They put those temporary signs.
Rules do no stopping, no standing.
My 2 cents, I don't care if people stop and line up, I don't think they will. It doesn't bother me that we can treat the same way we normally would. My problem is more like, we just paid a lot of money to put in the sidewalk. I'd rather have that be accessible so that people can walk to or from the festival or whatever, or use that sidewalk the way it was meant to be. That's my concern. My concern is less about people.
Ripping up your turf, that's just what they.
I do feel like that's also a little bit rude, you know?
Everybody saw what happened when they put that new turf down right before winter last year. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Layer.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Do you think that for them to wait a week and avoid getting a call?
Well, they've already done most of it. I mean, more than half of it was already done last week.
They want to be out of here.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be done at the end of May.
Right.
It's no one of the money.
I like it. Farewell tour, tour.
I just want to go with them.
Run out the record.
Can I just stay on my ticket books? Farewell tour to
We just want to protect him and make sure he gets out of here okay.
All right. Item 12 is our second public comment period.
I'm not in public, and I don't have a comment, but I do have a question, if I may. Do you know with whom I would speak to understand why MedX seems to charge the town of Ulysses the highest service charge of all of the municipalities for whom they process claims? It ranges from like 1.2% to 4% for us. And I didn't think we had agreed to, I guess I assumed whatever rate we were told would be the same for everybody. But maybe I was just looking at the map and the report that I got.
Yeah.
Did they add that directly? Okay.
Yeah. My guess is it's call volume related.
Right.
She would be the one to.
Well,
It
yeah, except that
also
somebody
be-
had a higher billing amount and a lower rate, so that's why, I'll call them in.
She was
Well, it may also be because they were the last ones in for those. And then it was a different rate when the time came in.
Mecklenburg was the last, and New was the lowest, I think, so. We'll see, okay, I'll call there, thank you.
All right. And I would entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Is it correct? We need a second now.
What? I just second on that?
You said.
I'll second. I second.
I just said,
I don't believe any of them.
do that. You can give it to me. That's
There's no do-over on the mid-card floor. Are you kidding me? Have you looked at it?
Yeah, good.
It's kind of like,
Are we done?